Well, another beautiful Saturday evening here in the Appalachian Mountains outside of Murphy, North Carolina. It's about 70 degrees, wind's blowing. Temperature's going to plummet tonight with a clear sky. It'll be in the 50s tomorrow, maybe 60-ish. It's a beautiful spring day today though. Rain in the morning and sun in the afternoon. I wanted to talk about a post that I made up on this Facebook group, two Facebook groups actually. I belong to about 3 or 4 Facebook groups. 2 of them I hang out at quite a bit. One of them is for men, it's a men's group. We have some good conversations in there, good exchanges. The other one is a group for, she calls it Awakened Souls. And it's very interesting. It's got like 100,000 people in this group from all around the world. And one of the things I noticed, there's not a lot of talk about our shadow, as it's called, the dark side of the human experience. So I made a post that was a follow-on from something I did about, I think 6 weeks ago, in which I asked myself some questions, and I wrote them down, paper and pencil, the old-fashioned way. But the questions were things like, what is it that makes me angry? What is it that makes me sad? What is it that makes me happy? What triggers me? And I started answering those questions based on where I'm at in this part of my life, just as an examination of myself, my emotions, my reactions, my subconscious reactions. Because as you saw a couple weeks ago when I did that video about living consciously, dying consciously, I want to be in each moment consciously, and I think that's really one of the goals of this existence. So I answered those questions, and then I posted them in in these Facebook groups, and I talked about, I related them to the concept of archetypes, particularly from what I call my little Bible of archetypes. It's a book called King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. 4 masculine archetypes. You can change the word king to queen or sovereign and make it genderless, male or female. There are only 2 genders. But each of those archetypes has a pair of shadows. They're called the active shadow and the passive shadow inside in the book. So the king has the tyrant as the active shadow. I know I've been the tyrant at certain moments in the past. And the passive shadow is the weakling, which is also can be called the victim. And there's a lot of victim in our world these days, our Western modern world. But I wanted to examine them under the guise of those questions that I asked. So what makes me angry? That could trigger the tyrant. What makes me afraid? That was another one of the questions. That can trigger the victim or the weakling. Afraid to move forward, afraid to do something, afraid to say something. That's the weakling. The next one is the warrior. The warrior's shadow archetypes are called the sadist and the masochist. So the warrior, instead of protecting, goes about hurting either himself or others and takes pleasure in that. We see a lot of that in our society today with these people who want to hurt others in various ways, one of which is, of course, and they're doing it to little babies the day they are born. This is the ultimate in the weakling. Hurting, taking pleasure in hurting little children, especially newborns. It's one of the things that makes me angry, by the way. The third one, the magician, has the shadows of the innocent one and the manipulator. So the magician will use his or her magic to manipulate people and then fall back on that passive shadow, the innocent one, which says, I can say anything or do anything because my intention is pure. So there's no self-responsibility in our thoughts, words, or deeds, because we fall back on being the innocent one. The last one is the lover. The lover, the shadows are the addict. Got a lot of experience with that one. And the passive shadow is called the impotent lover. The impotent lover has no feeling for life. I would assume that would be a state of severe depression, no passion, and a completely closed heart. If we look at it from a Chinese standpoint, the ancient Chinese, where the sea of qi is in around the second chakra. If we mix the yogic and the ancient Chinese, the sea of qi is here, the fire, the passion is here in the heart. And if we allow this sea of qi to remain unexpressed, then we will be basically the impotent lover. We will not live life with any passion. And really the goal between the two of them, the sea of qi and the fire, the water and the fire, this is the water, this is the fire, is to keep them in balance. But we want to express ourselves. We want to use this passion. We can't hold on to it forever. In other words, as I wrote the other day to somebody, don't die with your music in you. So I phrased that discussion of those questions, what makes me angry, fearful, scared, happy, under the guise of those archetypes, especially the shadow archetypes. And the responses were really good. There was not a lot of responses, and a woman, a very astute woman, young lady, commented on that, and she thought that it's just because people don't want to go there. And there may be a lot of truth to that statement, because when people are posting in these groups, one thing I notice, it's all love and light, and that's great, but you can't have light without the dark. And we do live in this world of duality, so there is going to be fear and love. It's just a matter of managing it, which is the whole topic of emotional regulation in part. It's a topic for another video. But I just wanted to talk about this idea of examining the shadow through questioning oneself, just asking ourselves certain questions. As you can see, I have a fire going here. I'm going to throw a couple more logs on the fire. So, anyways, that's what I wanted to talk about on this beautiful Saturday night. I'm going to hang out here for just a little while longer. Actually, speaking of the addict from an archetypal standpoint, is the lover of life, but purely through the five senses, the sensual pleasures of life. So what we see, what we taste, what we feel, what we hear. And I've had my share of addictions, alcohol, drugs. It could be anything like sex, it could be chocolate, coffee. So one of the things, I don't drink alcohol anymore, haven't in a while. And I'm not doing chocolate anymore. And one thing I still do is coffee in the morning. And so today, first time in a couple months probably, I didn't have any coffee. And it's interesting, I do double shot espressos in the mornings with a very dark roast, so that's very low caffeine. But what I noticed today is, boy, I was tired. I laid down, it was about noonish, 12:30. I just sacked out on the couch and I was out for at least an hour and a half, solid. And my body just wanted to rest, so I let it rest. And the body always knows. But think about those. There's a lot of studies out there on archetypes, a lot of studies out there, a lot of things you can look into as far as shadow work goes. Find your own way. But I just wanted to share that was one way. I've done mirror work, done ayahuasca, done a lot of things. But just writing out those simple questions, is examining what is it in life that causes these emotions, right? Because these emotions then get trapped in the body. I think I've got something trapped in my shoulder these days I'm trying to release. Maybe even down here in this hip, mostly in this shoulder. Trapped emotions. And we want to let that stuff go. It's okay to feel it, but we don't want it trapped. So I hope this was helpful. I will sit out here and enjoy the evening for a little while longer. Brought my flute out here. And I don't have very many neighbors anymore. So it's really quiet. I had about 15 deer out here this morning. It was just amazing. They came out of the woods behind me, started walking down here. This used to be the animal trail before they built the houses in here. I've seen too many animals, turkeys and deer and fox come through here. This was their trail. They don't come through here anymore though because there's too many humans and too much noise. So, but it was interesting this morning. It was, the sun was just coming up. It was that time in between worlds. There's about 15 deer, no bucks, just does and little ones. But it was quite a group. Hope to see him again soon. Haven't seen the turkeys in a while. Haven't seen my little fox friend in a while either. But they're out here, woodpeckers, all kinds of birds in the morning too as that sun comes up during that time between worlds. It's not daylight and it's not nighttime. It's a beautiful time and I'm up every day doing Qigong and watching that. So, have a wonderful day wherever you are, and we'll be back soon.